G'day, Tom Woods here and welcome to this week's new video. If you are new here on my YouTube channel, I put out a video every week or two and it's all about photography. A lot of it's about water and surf photography. So if you're into that, I would love to connect with you. Please subscribe to the channel and links below for more information. We have just brought out a brand new 40-minute workshop webinar that is on surf photography, the 5 most asked questions, and you can get access to that for free. I'll put the link below the video. But yeah, today we are going to talk about choosing a brand or camera system or camera type for water photography specifically. So just my input over the last 20 years on what I use, what certain types of camera brands are best for. So let's get started with it. Which camera is best for water photography? It's a question that is often asked, so I'll address it in this video and hopefully give you some valuable insights. But before I start, if you have got your gear all set up and have a chosen brand system, then you can probably skip this video and move on to the next one. Firstly, the brand, and most of the times the type of camera you choose will be a very tiny percentage of your overall success as a water photographer. The first question to ask yourself is, where is your long-term goal set at right now? If it's to turn your passion into a full-time career, then I would strongly suggest looking at the big 3 brands of Canon, Nikon, or Sony. If you didn't already know, the lenses, speed lights, and extras are not interchangeable between brands, so you have to commit to a brand to build your kit bag. These 3 big brands have all the depth of gear that would satisfy any photographer's needs. Huge range of lenses, speed lights, and all that sort of stuff. If you're already invested in one of these brands, it's always tempting to be looking at the competitors' systems and consider changing, and many photographers have done just that recently, but in my opinion, you're really better off staying with the system that you have invested in already. They all produce gear that is more than good enough for the very best photographer in the world. Ignore the marketing ploys and focus on your craft, not on the brand of your camera. I've seen a lot of colleagues waste their money and energy in changing over, and their photography has in no way got better or worse. Basically, your camera brand matters very little, and let me tell you, your clients won't care. They care about quality pictures, and all 3 of these brands deliver when the camera is in the right hands. I've always used Canon and have loved their simple layouts, strong camera bodies, sharp lenses, and especially their advanced off-camera flash systems that are built into the speed lights and the cameras. The color straight off the camera is always so true, and their range of lenses is really mind-boggling. The Nikon range is just as impressive, with a camera for every level of photographer, really beautiful lens quality and professional build. Their flash systems aren't quite as user-friendly and advanced as the Canon, in my opinion. However, their dynamic range and high ISO capabilities are more impressive than Canon. Sony is the new player on the block, and they have taken the photography world by storm, with many long-time Canon and Nikon users swapping out their full kits to go Sony. They definitely have listened to the modern photographer and produced the new mirrorless cameras well before Nikon and Canon woke up to that. So their marketing campaigns are working best at the moment and taking up a large percentage of the market, I guess. I've had to play around with a few of them, and I found the layouts a little bit counterintuitive. I guess you would get used to the layouts after a while, but I just found them a little bit more complicated and slower to use than they should be. That aside, their biggest strength would be producing the best quality pictures at higher ISO and incredible dynamic range to go with that. So if you're an astrophotographer, I would consider looking at the Sony cameras, but in my opinion, it wouldn't be worth swapping out your entire gear over it unless you had another reason, a really good reason. All 3 of these brands have amazing frame rates for action, shooting in the water, fast focusing, good backup service, and are well supported by water housing manufacturers, and that is the most important thing if you want to stay in water photography scene ongoing. If you ever want to photograph for personal use and internet and social media, use, then the options open up beyond the big three. Olympus are making amazing cameras at the moment. Their technology with image stabilization is second to none, and their little tricks and integrations with your smartphone are really cool features, and they're super tiny. You could fit 2 bodies and lenses from 8mm to 400mm all in a tiny gear bag. The issue I do have with the Olympus from a commercial photographer's perspective is that they only run half-frame sized sensors, which are fine for most print work and web use, but when doing billboards, large crops for brands and clients, they don't really have the quality of the full-frame sensors of the other brands. Bigger sensors also handle higher ISOs a lot better, so you'll have more grain in your pictures with half-frame cameras, especially in low light. Not all housing manufacturers make housings for Olympus, however, they do have their very own high-quality housings for their higher-end cameras. These housings are more designed for below-the-surface sort of work rather than high-action surf photography, so keep that in mind if you're considering the Olympus range. Panasonic have just released a full-frame camera to go with their range of smaller sensor cameras, so that may be worth considering. This brand is super popular with the video guys. A lot of epic footage is coming off the GH5s in the video side of things. If video interests you more than stills, I would definitely look into their range. I used an older version of a GH5 recently and found it pretty slow to respond in comparison with my Canon cameras. And it didn't feel as strongly built. The new full frame may be a different story, but any video enthusiasts out there might want to check them out. Fuji are also making great looking cameras. A few of my colleagues have swapped over to them and are loving their new range of cameras and lenses. They don't quite have the lens and speed light range of the big three, but more than enough for most photographers, I suppose. Worth investigating if they take your fancy somehow. Style-wise, they probably definitely win. They're pretty cool looking cameras. If you are yet to invest in a housing at this time and are just considering getting into water photography, then you may want to look at buying an action camera like the GoPro or the DJI. This will get you into the ocean and give you a taste of whether water photography is going to be your thing before investing in the more expensive cameras and water housings. These action cameras start from around $500 Australian and produce fairly good stills and super crisp video. Even if you do upgrade to a full housing setup, you'll most likely still use the action camera on top of your housing to record video. Another option is to buy a high quality housing for your iPhone. Aquatech make an incredible water housing that takes your iPhone into the ocean. Pro photog Zach Noyle landed the cover of a major surfing magazine using his iPhone and one of these housings, so don't count out that option if you just want to get started super affordably. Pretty sure they retail for around $250 to $300 Australian. So there's just a quick insight into the brands, but really my teachings are not going to be focused on the brand or the type of camera that you are using. It's going to be on becoming the best photographer that you can be. That's what lights me up the most, not the gear. I want to see you guys improve with each week and love the process of becoming a better water photographer each time you swim out into the ocean.